अन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखावितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते बीबी गोविंद स्वामी निति नामिने। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणी। So I welcome all of you to class. We had okay, I think we should start with a quiz. Till which verse did we do last time?
40, 36 to 40.
36 to 40.
We did, the 40th was the last verse that we did.
Yes.
Ajay, just 1 minute. 1 minute. Excuse me.
Ajay,
I'll
yes.
keep my this mute only all the time. Upar kaam chal raha hai. So you all will hear thak thak thak.
Sure. When you have to speak, you can keep it. When you switch it on. Yeah. Okay. Why Arjun points out Krishna to not induce him to fight, which would cause his misfortune. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
So I'll give you the option. I'll give you the options. Why does Arjun point out to Krishna not to induce him to fight, which would cause his misfortune? 1, because Krishna is the killer of the Keshi demon. Because Krishna is the husband of the goddess of fortune. Because Krishna is the very source of all pleasures, and none of these. Prachi, would you like to answer that? Okay. Yes, Meena. Yes, Meena. You can unmute and say.
He's the husband of goddess Fortune.
Perfect. Very nice. Yeah. See, why does Arjun point out to Krishna not to induce him to fight, which would cause his misfortune? And what is the name? Somebody else will answer. By what name does he address Krishna?
Madhav.
Which suggests that he is the, yes, Madhav.
Madhav.
Madhav means husband of the goddess of fortune. है ना? Okay. Next. What according to Arjun will be the consequences if the elders of the family are killed? 1. Family traditions of purifications may stop. 2. Younger family members would develop irreligious habits and would lose their chance for spiritual salvation. C. Both A and B. And D. None of these. You may raise your hand. No, please don't say that. You may raise your hand. Don't answer. Bharti.
Yeah, both A and B.
And what are A and B?
Like when the elders will be won't be there, so there will be no sanskar, no spirituality, and
Yes.
so the young generation will we won't follow anything. They'll become, they lose all this. The ladies will. क्या था?
Spiritual value. Spiritual value.
Yeah, they will follow all irreligious habits and
Yeah,
they will become
there will be
Varna Sankara.
no values and no rituals or all things. They lose all the characters,
No culture. Yes.
no culture.
Okay. Good population for the spiritual progress in the society depends on the dash and dash of its womanhood.
Your voice is breaking.
Good population. Again?
Yes.
It's lagging. Your voice is lagging.
Flag is breaking.
Not able to understand.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So for some reason, my hotspot is not working. I'm sorry. So if the light goes, I'll have to join back again. Good population for the spiritual progress in the society depends on dash and dash of its womanhood. Options are number 1, chastity. Number 2, faithfulness. Number 3, both A and B. And number 4, none of these. Someone new? Prachi, Manita, Monica. Yes, Anjali. रेशमा आप कुछ बोलना चाह रहे हो?
Both A and B, faithfulness and chastity of women.
That's right. Okay. So enough of the quiz. Let's start with our I'll just share my screen. Can you all see the screen, please?
Yes.
YG, would you like to speak, say the verses?
Sure, Vanita. From 41, right? Hello?
Yeah, you can read 40 and then 41, so it will become like
Okay, so you,
revision.
okay, I'll read 40 then first. Adharmo bhibavat Krishnam pradushyanti kulastriyaha trisu dustavasneya jayate varna shankaraha. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted. And from the degradation of the womanhood, O descendant of Vashni, comes unwanted progeny. So now 41. Shankaro narakayeva kulagnanam kulasya cha patanti pitaro yesham lupta pindo dadakriyaha. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped.
Vinu, can you please mute all?
You unmute, Vanita, unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. So from in the first chapter, from verse 1 to verse 25, what we've seen is that it is Sanya Niriksha Yoga, which means an observation of the armies of both the sides is being made by Duryodhana. Now, from 26 to 46 is Arjun Vishad Yoga, which means Arjun's lamentations. The next half of the chapter 1 is Arjun Vishad Yoga. Earlier it was Sanya Niriksha Yoga. So, pretty much what Arjun, all these verses till the 46th verse is about the lamentation of the great Yodha Arjun. So in the previous verse, we saw, verse 41, that his main concern was that when irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women will become polluted. And from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny. So here, on purpose, he called, he addressed Krishna as Varshaneya, which means the follower or in the Vrishni dynasty, one who appears in the Vrishni dynasty. So he's saying that how will you feel if your Vrishni dynasty, the great Vrishni dynasty, is destroyed, or you have to destroy all of them? How are you going to feel? So, and you are asking me to destroy my family tradition, my family dynasty. So it's going to be very difficult for me. 1.40. So इसमें we had seen that his concern is that peace and prosperity will come only if there is good population in the society, which is a very valid point. And then he also said that Varnashram system was designed for the same, that good population to prevail for the progress of community. So we saw what is Varnashram system, that if each section of the society, Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, performs their duties with discipline and with sincerity, automatically there will be peace and progress for all sections of the society. And there will be good population. Now, what do we mean by good population? Population or men with responsibility, men who follow the rules and regulations of Dharam with sincerity and with responsibility. And what is Varna Sankara? Varna Sankara is the exact opposite. Population or men who do not follow the rules and regulations of Shastra, or men who behave irresponsibly. And when these kind of men increase in the society, there is no chance of keeping law and order. And when there is no chance of keeping law and order, automatically there will be no peace. So it is going to be a hellish society. And further he says that good population comes from the chastity of women. And why will the women fall down? Because when the women see that Arjun himself is killing his own grandfather, his teachers, all the elders in his family, this means he's not following the tenets of religion. So this means we can also do whatever we want. And that's how the women will become impious and they are going to behave irresponsibly. So this was Arjun's concern. And both women and kids are actually very gullible and they are very easily misled because they are very trusting by nature and they can easily be influenced. So when responsible men are absent from the society because they would all have been killed in the war, then these women will indulge in unchaste activities which will give rise to Varna Sankara. So हमने ये देखा था that the entire Varnashram system will fail. And since the Varnashram system will fail, there is going to be chaos in the society. As you can see in this slide, that the Varnashram system was designed for peace, prosperity, not only peace and prosperity, but even more importantly for every member of the society to progress in their spiritual life. Each member, regardless of what his position is, will slowly progress and work on his the development of his soul, not just for maintaining his body. So good population, the verse here that is mentioned is from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.41. I'll read the verse. It says, Devarshi bhutapta nrinam pitanam na kinkaro nayam nicharajan. What are they saying here? Vaiji, you read verse 41 just now, right?
Yes, Vanita, it is 41.
Yeah. So basically what this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam is saying that Devarshi Bhutapta Nrinam Pitanam. All of us, whether we believe in it or no, but we are in debt. Of whom? Of Devarshi, Devas and Rishis. Bhutapta. Bhutapta means the general living entities. All these living entities, jisme birds, insects, all these lower species of life come. These are the general living entities. Apta. Apta means relatives. Hamare jitne bhi relatives hain. Nrinam Pitanam. Nrinam means human beings, all the human beings. And Pitrinam means our ancestors. So कुल मिलाकर ये पांचों जो हैं, देव, ऋषि, general living entities, bhutapta, apta, हमारे relatives, nrinam, all the human beings, and pitrinam, हमारे ancestors. We are in debt of all of these because we take from all of them. Each one of them has contributed in our life. Our ancestors have given us a dynasty, a family to which we belong to. Devi Devtas, the Devtas are providing us all the means for sustenance like sunlight, water, air, the earth, and the Rishis are giving us all spiritual guidance through the books that they have written. Similarly, all the general living entities, we depend on each one of them, whether it is honeybees or butterflies or earthworms, all of them contribute to our food and our life and growth here. And our ancestors. So we are all in debt. We are in debt of all of them. So we have our duties towards them. And primarily हमारी 3 तरह की duties होती हैं, देव यज्ञ, पितृ यज्ञ और ऋषि यज्ञ. देव यज्ञ जो हम हवन करते हैं, होम करते हैं, this is how we repay back to them by performing havan and yajna. ऋषि यज्ञ हम कैसे करते हैं? By reading the scriptures, शास्त्रों को पढ़ के, उनका अध्ययन करके और उनका प्रचार करके हम ऋषि यज्ञ करते हैं. एंड पितृ यज्ञ कैसे करते हैं? थ्रू श्राद्ध सेरेमनी और थ्रू पिंडदान. बिकॉज केवल प्लैनेट अर्थ है जहां पर आप you can continue to earn pious credit, whereby you can leave this planet and go to the permanent planet. But this facility is not available in Pitra Lok, the Lok where our ancestors are. They are condemned to stay in the Pitra Lok. They cannot go from there anywhere else unless उनके जो descendants हैं, हम उनको हम जब पिंडदान करेंगे तभी उनके पास कोई opportunity है to go to a better planet. Otherwise, they continue to suffer on that planet. Or ultimately, when their credit finishes, all their pious credit, जिसकी वजह से वहाँ पे हैं, when it finishes, again they fall down. So they are entirely relying on their descendants to offer them shraddh so that they can get a better destination from there. So these, this is what is the normal statement of Srimad Bhagavatam that says that ये हमारे ऋण हैं, इतने तरह के ऋण हैं, लेकिन this is just half the verse. न किंकरो नायम नीच राजन. न किंकरो, kinkaro means servant. What is he saying here? सर्वात्मना यह शरणम शरण्यम. लेकिन ये सब करने की जरूरत नहीं है अगर आप सर्वात्मना यह शरणम शरण्यम, अगर आप शरण ले लेते हैं शरण्यम की. Who is शरण्यम? कृष्णा, the supreme personality of Godhead. अगर आप कृष्ण की शरण ले लेते हैं तो आपको ये तीनों तरह के यज्ञ, देव यज्ञ, पितृ यज्ञ, ऋषि यज्ञ, and our debts to all these देवर्षि, भूताप्त, आप्त, नृणाम, पितृणाम, इन सब की तरफ हमारा we do not have any debts. गतो मुकुंदम परिहृत करताम. इसका translation पढ़ती हूँ. Anyone who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukund, the giver of liberation, giving up all kinds of obligation, and has taken to the path in all seriousness, owes neither duties nor obligations to the demigods, sages, general living entities, family members, humankind, or forefathers. Such obligations are automatically fulfilled by performance of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what they are saying here is how to understand this. We are the spirit soul and we are vertically connected to Krishna. हम यहाँ हैं नीचे and here is Krishna and we have a vertical connection with him. और ये हमारे जो प्रियजन हैं, स्वजन हैं, they are on the horizontal platform, जिनके हम ऋणी हैं, जिनसे हम ये ऋण ले रहे हैं. लेकिन ये जितने भी ancestors हैं हमारे, ये देवी देवता हैं, all of them are actually bringing the mercy of Krishna only to us indirectly. So it is through Krishna that their mercy, their support, their love, their help, their affection is coming to us. And then there are the ones who are our descendants, हमारे जो छोटे हैं, वो हमारे साथ connected हैं. So ultimately all these people, all these family members और जिनके भी हमारे ऊपर ऋण हैं, ये सब ultimately Krishna की mercy ही हम तक ला रहे हैं. You can understand this by when a mother has a newborn child, the child is nourished and is entirely dependent on the breast milk of the mother. Now, who is supplying that breast milk to the mother? It is Krishna. The mother is not producing that milk by herself, but she is, through Krishna's mercy, she is getting that milk and she is feeding it to the child. So indirectly, it is Krishna's mercy through which the child is getting nourished. So if you become if you surrender to Krishna and if you become a servant of Krishna and you take up to devotional life, automatically आपके सारे ऋण जो हैं वो satisfy हो जाते हैं. You don't have to individually go and pay your debts to all these different kinds of categories of people who have contributed to our life. The way to understand is the example that we have done many times, that they are the different branches of the tree, which is Krishna. So if you are watering the root of the tree, automatically sabhi pitar, in fact, the ancestors get delivered. If you start worshipping Krishna, all the ancestors, aapke jo ancestors hain, they get delivered to a better destination. So there is no need to get into all these different, which is what Arjun is talking about. कि मेरे इस ऋण का क्या होगा, मेरे उस ऋण का क्या होगा, मेरी ये जो डायनेस्टीज हैं, मेरा जो डायनेस्टी की तरफ ऋण है उसका क्या होगा. And why is he so bewildered? Because of प्रत्यक्ष प्रमाण. ये हमारी कंडीशन है हम सबकी. 20th वर्ष में हमने देखा था कि अर्जुन ने गांडीव उठा लिया था, उसके ऊपर अपना तीर लगा लिया था, and he was about to shoot. And here now we are in verse 41. What happened between 20 and 41? Now look at his condition. He is, we just saw, I'll just show you the screen. Look at his condition now. His limbs are quivering, mouth has dried up, the whole body is trembling, hairs are standing on end, and his Gandiv bow is slipping. Is Gandiv bow ka, he had taken a vow, and it was not just a frivolous or a childish vow. He said, anybody who causes me to put my bow down, Gandiv bow, I am going to kill him. And it so happened कि ये situation उनके और युधिष्ठिर के बीच में आ गई. There was one day in the battle जब करण और युधिष्ठिर का युद्ध हुआ, and that day Karan completely defeated Yudhishthir. So much so that Yudhishthir fell down from his chariot, and Karan said that what kind of a kshatriya are you? You can't even stand before me, and I don't even consider you a warrior. So I'm going to leave you. I'm not even going to kill you. So ऐसे इतना humiliate करके युधिष्ठिर को भेज दिया वापस. So as soon as, and he injured Yudhishthir badly. So immediately Yudhishthir was removed from the battle and taken back to his tent. And when this message reached Arjun, he left the battle in between and ran to Yudhishthir's tent to check whether he's okay. Now, no, a Kshatriya never leaves the battle like this. So Yudhishthir assumed that if Arjun has come in the middle of a battle, he has killed Karan to avenge his humiliation and has come to give him that news. So as soon as he entered Yudhishthir's tent, he said, Yudhishthir told him, have you left? Have you killed Karan? He said, no, I haven't. He said, how are you here then? He said, I just came to check on you. He said, you were never supposed to do that. Why did you leave the battlefield? As a Kshatriya, you were supposed to avenge my humiliation and not come back here until you had killed the opponent. Shame on you, you should put that Gandiv down. The moment Yudhishthir said this, Arjun said, don't you know I have taken a vow not to put my Gandiv down? And I'm going to kill the person? This is a very serious vow. And you are the person, the first person who has told me to put my Gandiv down. So I have to kill you now because I am bound by my vow. Kshatriya ki vow ki bahut value hoti thi. So, and Yudhishthir also understood that yes, you cannot go back on your vow. So then Krishna had to intervene. And he told him, Arjun, you cannot kill Yudhishthir. See, for a Kshatriya, even you can kill a Kshatriya even by words. Because for a Kshatriya, apman se badi death aur koi nahi ho sakti. So you humiliate Yudhishthir with your words. That is also as good as killing him. तो तुम्हारी वाव भी रह जाएगी और युधिष्ठिर की जान भी बच जाएगी. Krishna was, of course, the most brilliant politician. Is still. So then Arjun blasted Yudhishthir, that what kind of a Kshatriya are you? You could not take care of your wife. When Draupadi was being disrobed, you didn't say anything. If it was me, I would have killed all of them then and there. All the Kurus, I was capable of killing them. So he's बहुत बुरा भला कहा और Yudhishthir felt very shameful. But immediately after this, उन्होंने युधिष्ठिर के पैर पकड़ लिए और माफी मांगी that बड़े भैया मुझे अपनी वाव पूरी करनी थी. That is why I said this. Please forgive me for saying this. My point for telling you this story is कि गांडीव नीचे रखने का इतना बड़ा repercussion है that he was ready to kill even his brother. And now look at his condition, that he is on his own. The Gandiv is slipping from his hands. He's unable to stand. And he's telling, on top of that, he's telling Krishna, I will not fight. Why has this happened to him? Because of Pratyaksh Praman. That Arjun, whose Gandiv was held up high, was a sign of determination that yes, मैं यहाँ धर्म युद्ध करने आया हूँ कृष्ण के कहने पर, and I am going to fight with all these people. But the moment he saw them, जैसे ही उसने प्रत्यक्ष प्रमाण हमने किया है ना, that there are 3 ways of getting information. प्रत्यक्ष प्रमाण means आंखों से जो दिख रहा है, हमारी own judgment, depending on whatever is happening around us. Then अनुमान प्रमाण is guesswork, and the last is शब्द प्रमाण. तो जब आप प्रत्यक्ष प्रमाण पर completely rely करते हैं to explain to you why things are happening in your life, that's when you get bewildered completely. So Arjun was relying on pratyaksh praman. This is what happens to us also. हम इस life में आए हैं and life is happening to us, and as long as we keep on judging our circumstances based on our own mind, which is not very intelligent, and that is why we have all these questions when bad situations come in our life. Why this is happening to me? मेरे साथ ही ये क्यों हो रहा है? भगवान है भी या नहीं? Why are all these difficulties coming? If he is there, why is there so much injustice in this world? All these kind of doubts come in our mind. क्योंकि हम प्रत्यक्ष प्रमाण के ऊपर depend कर रहे हैं entirely. But the more intelligent way or the best way is, whenever you have difficulties and you're faced with difficulties, you should rely on Shabd Praman. That's when you will be able to bring back your determination. And that's exactly what happens later on, we will see in the second chapter. So here in this verse, he's saying that an increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life, both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. And the ancestors of such corrupt families fall down. He's saying कि पितरों को जब पिंडदान नहीं मिलेगा क्योंकि वर्ण संकर हो जाएंगे, वो कोई रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस फॉलो नहीं करेंगे, then everything will be stopped. So that is why this Bhagavatam verse is there, that he is right now in a dharam yudh, and the dharam yudh also किसके कहने पे हो रहा है? कृष्ण के कहने पर हो रहा है. So बाकी सारी duties are very fika in front of this one main duty, to fight according to the proponents told by Krishna himself, who is the supreme personality of Godhead. Next verse, Vaiji.
Doshai ete kulagnanam varna sankara karakaihi utsadhyante jati dharmanam kula dharmasya saswataha. By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated.
Yeah. So what he's saying, again, this is his next doubt. His doubt is that when the family tradition is destroyed and you get all kind of varna sankar, which means all unwanted children. And I explained unwanted children last time. Unwanted children does not mean that your contraception failed and contraceptives failed and you had a child which you didn't want. By unwanted children, we mean children of low consciousness, men who behave irresponsibly when they grow up, men who do not heed the tenets or the rules and regulations that are important to bring law and order in the society and to bring peace in the society. So when these kind of, by the evil deeds of these kind of people, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. So what do we mean by community projects and family welfare activities? Those projects that are set forth by Varnashram Dharam or by Sanatan Dharam to liberate human beings. Those kind of community projects. To deliver people spiritually. All of them will get disturbed and destroyed. Next verse, Vaiji.
Utsanna kula dharmanam manushyanam janardana narake niyatam vaso bhavatiti anusushruma. O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciple succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell.
Yeah. So there's a very important word here, Anushruma. Anushruma means I have heard. Now this is something that is missing in our current society. Arjun is saying, O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell. Arjun ये नहीं कह रहे कहीं पे भी कि मेरे अनुसार, in my opinion, according to what I think. He is saying according to what I have heard, which means he is intelligent enough to follow the disciplic succession. He is following the rules and regulations that have been handed down to him by parampara, by the ancestor, by the lineage that he is coming from, which means he is adhering to a higher authority. Now, if you see the current state of our society, this is completely missing. The current religion is do as you please, to each his own. There is no regard for authority, for a higher authority. And we all are trying to live our life according to our own opinions and according to our own understanding of things. So, jitni population hai dunya mein, utne hi vichar. Can you expect any peace in such a world? What is the population of the world? I think it's some okay, never mind. So, assuming it is 200 million, there are 200 million ideas because each one is trying to live according to his or her own opinion. And even worse, they're each individual person's pratyaksh praman. Whatever he's seeing and whatever his mind is judging and giving it to him, he is trying to behave according to that. But what is Arjun saying here? Even though Arjun is wrong, still what he's trying to say is Anushruma. Oh, he's not telling Krishna, Krishna, in my opinion, not once. Very respectfully still, he is saying, I have heard from disciplic succession. मतलब मैंने अपने पूर्वजों से, अपने बड़ों से सुना है that those family traditions जिनकी destroy हो जाती हैं, they always dwell in hell. So, what is his concern here? I am going to go to hell. Can you hear what he's saying? Oh Krishna, I will rot in hell. My dynasty will destroy. No, I will get these sinful reactions. I. Aham mameti, aham mameti. Main aur mera. So that is why he is bewildered. Because he is only working on I, me, mine, myself. And उसी point of view से प्रत्यक्ष प्रमाण जब वो देख रहा है कि ये मेरे प्रियजन मेरे सामने इस वक्त खड़े हुए हैं, he is completely bewildered. Because he is not trying to think on the level of the soul as of now. शब्द प्रमाण के हिसाब से नहीं जा रहे हैं वो. He is going by प्रत्यक्ष प्रमाण. So he's worried. That is why he's worried about going to hell. Now, all of us know about in India, it's very common for people to believe in afterlife. All of us know कि हम आत्मा है. Everybody says this in India. हम आत्मा है, हम शरीर नहीं है. And people also know about the afterworld. Past life regressions होती हैं. They also know कि इसके बाद हम next किसी और world में जाएंगे. लेकिन ये understanding, ये information होना, केवल ये information होना is not spirituality. Anybody can have this information. You know, जो तांत्रिक विद्या करते हैं, वो उनको भी पता है कि हाँ ये जो बॉडी है, इसके बाद जो सोल है वो दूसरी बॉडी में जाती है. That does not make them a spiritual person. There is a difference between knowing about the next life or knowing about another world and knowledge of the soul. ये दोनों चीजें अलग हैं. And we confuse the two. Just because you know that you are not this body, you are a soul, and after that you are going to go to another planet, does not necessarily mean that you are spiritual by nature and that you're going to make all the right decisions. अगर आपने वो मूवी देखी होगी Chronicles of Narnia, it has been made by a British person. He has gone into the afterworld, you know, another world. Even Avatar, agar aap dekho, they're talking about another planet, another world, and then wahan pe there is no disease and everybody is forever youthful, and people from this world can go to that world, and ultimately what is his conclusion? That ultimately Narnia is a place just like London. Matlab, all that supernatural ideas and imagination, he has now equated it with something material and belonging to this world only. He has not connected it with the soul. He has again connected it to something material. So just having an information about another planet, about Pitralok, does not make you spiritual. You necessarily have to know the science of the soul, your duty as a soul. Why are you here? Where are you going? And what is your duty here? That is the real spirituality for a human being. So knowing about another planet also is a material concept only. It's not, there is nothing spiritual about it. And that is what Arjun is saying. He's saying that I will go to hell. He has all these conceptions कि मुझे पता है ये rule कि अगर मैं अपने ही लोगों को, अपने ही स्वजनों को, because it is our duty to take care of our relatives. Yes, ये एक धर्म है, हमारे धर्म में ये लिखा है कि हमें अपनी फैमिली मेंबर्स का ध्यान रखना है, हमें अपने रिलेटिव्स का ध्यान रखना है, हमें अपने एंसेस्टर्स का ध्यान रखना है, पूर्वजों का भी ध्यान रखना है, अपने छोटों का भी ध्यान रखना है. But the main thing is that ये सारी चीजें तब अप्लाई होती हैं when everybody is going according to the tenets of धर्म. अगर धर्म ब्रीच हो रहा है, even by these people who are very close to you, then your higher principle or duty is to protect dharam first before you protect your own people. And this is exactly our own dilemma today, our day-to-day life, because none of us are practicing spiritual life, neither our parents nor our grandparents or relatives, and everybody is following some sort of idea of religion, what they think, what has been handed down to them by their ancestors. But by and large, people are not reading the Shastra. So they are not following Shabd Praman. So हम सब धर्म संकट में हैं कि हम अपने फैमिली मेंबर्स के साथ रहकर इनकी सुने या हम शब्द प्रमाण की सुने. And this dilemma always tears us between our duty on will it be disrespectful if we don't listen to them? And since we cannot isolate ourselves, we have to live in the society only. So what is our real duty then? And that is what Krishna is going to answer, because ये जो अर्जुन का dilemma है, again, he is role playing. This is just a play acting for us, to show us. He's asking all these questions on our behalf because they knew that Kali Yuga is approaching. As soon as Krishna finishes his Leela and he leaves this planet, Kali is waiting to come. And this is what is going to be the dilemma of all the people. So all these questions were raised by Arjun so that Krishna could answer them and we could benefit from that. So we will read the next verse now.
Aho bata mahat papam kartum vyavastita vayam yadrajya sukha lobena hantum swajana udyataha. Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts. Driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness, we are intent on killing our own kinsmen.
Yeah. So, driven by selfish motives, one may be inclined to such sinful acts like killing your own brother, father, or mother. Now, there are many such instances in the history of the world, but Arjun, being a saintly devotee of the Lord, is always conscious of moral principles, and therefore he is taking care to avoid such activities. 45th भी पढ़ लीजिए आप.
Okay.
वैशी.
Yeah. Yeti mam apratikaram asastram shastra panayah dardarashtrarane hanyus tam vekshetram bhavet. Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unharmed and unresisting on the battlefield.
So, just see to what level Arjun has come. Ashastram. Ashastram, Shastra, Panayah. What is he saying? You know that in Dwapar Yuga, in the Battle of Kurukshetra, even in a world war, there were rules and regulations. And both the sides were following those rules and regulations. What was that? There was always a fight between equals. जो foot soldier है वो foot soldier से ही लड़ाई करेगा. घुड़सवार घुड़सवार से ही लड़ाई करेगा. Charioteer से ही लड़ाई करेगा. They will not, a person sitting on an elephant will not attack a foot soldier. ये सारे ethics थे war के, which everybody was fighting. And दो और उसमें rules थे that अगर आपके opponent के हाथ में weapon नहीं है, you will wait till he gets a weapon. You will not attack him if he is unarmed. Ashastram. And this was considered extremely undignified for a Kshatriya. If a Kshatriya attacked a person that is unarmed, he was not glorified. He was considered to be cowardly, not brave. And for a Kshatriya to be considered cowardly is as good as death. You know, this is followed even in Rajput families. Rajasthan ki jo folklore hai, it is full of stories of the Rajput kings who gave up their lives fighting because they did not want to go back home defeated. You know, they were willing to give up their life rather than accept the shame of defeat. So, Ashastram, without being fully equipped, without weapons in hand. Weapons in hand were to kill me unarmed and unresisting. An opponent who is not willing to fight also will not be attacked. This was a rule. And what is Arjun saying? He's saying that better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting. He has gone to this level that I will not kill them, despite knowing that they have been atatais, they have been dominators, aggressors for all our life since our childhood. Still, I will not kill them. But you are on a battlefield. आप अगर नहीं मारोगे तो सामने वाला तो फिर भी मारेगा ही आपको. So to that, what is he saying? Let them. Let him kill me even if I am unarmed. And even if I do not want to, I will not pick up my weapons. I am willing to get myself killed without even putting up a fight or defending myself. This is very, very uncommon or unheard of for a Kshatriya to speak. Because the dharma of a Kshatriya is to do his duty on a battlefield and fight. And Arjun is going back on his word. He's breaking his own vow of the Gandiv, and as a Kshatriya, and then most important, Krishna, whatever Krishna has told him to do, he's going against that. Knowing fully well that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's saying, you kill him if you really feel that what they are doing is wrong. Why should I take the sinful reaction? So he's thinking again about that I will have this glory of winning this battle for a few years. And that's what happened also. Jab Pandav jeet gaye the, they were the kings of the world only for 36 years. After that, they left the planet. So Arjun, this is what Arjun is saying. Just for a few years, दुनिया का राजा बनने में क्या मजा है? जब मुझे उसका repercussion अपने ही घर वालों को मारने का जो मुझे sinful reaction है, hellish condition है, वो मुझे जन्म जन्मांतर तक भोगनी पड़ेगी. So why should for a few years of enjoyment of being the king, why should I take these sinful reactions of the hellish planets for many, many lifetimes? This is what his thought is. This is what he is thinking. Okay, last verse.
Sanjayo vacha eva muktarjuna sankhe ratopashta upavishat visirjya sasaram chapam shoka samvigna manasaha. Sanjaya said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief.
Can you believe this? गांडीव रख दिया जिसके लिए युधिष्ठिर को मारने लग गए थे. That Gandiv bow he has put down, and you can see his condition in the picture that is shown on the slide. This is a very abnormal scene because Arjun is not a normal person. He is an extraordinary Yodha and a very righteous Yodha who has been on the path of Dharam all his life. Can you see what Pratyaksh Praman can do to such a person? तो फिर हमारे लिए क्या hope है? We are nowhere in front of. We are not the caliber of Arjun at all. So picking up the Gandiv is a sign of determination that yes, I'm going to live according to the tenets of Dharam. And putting down the Gandiv and is what is the result of Shabd Pratyaksh Praman. कि जब अर्जुन आया और उसने देखा और अपनी दोनों तरफ की उसने आर्मीज देखी, that bewildered his mind, that clouded the reasoning out of his mind, and he started using his own mind and his own arguments to convince himself that what he is doing is wrong. But when we rely on Shabda Praman, our determination is revived. And this is what we will see after the 18th chapter. Last chapter mein, Arjun picks up his Gandiv again once Krishna starts speaking from chapter 2 onwards. Abhi tak Krishna ne kuch nahi kaha. He has just said one. Ek hi verse hai Krishna ka. Look, when Arjun tells him that take me in the middle of both the armies. So Krishna brings the chariot and he says, look Parth, behold the Kurus. Now what, you're not going to fight? Keval that. And this last verse has been spoken by Sanjay because second last verse, 45th verse mein, Arjun has already given up and he has sat down. You can see that his body language is showing that he has sat down. So Sanjay is speaking now on his behalf after watching his body language that he has given up and he is about to sit on the chariot. So he has summed up the whole condition. That is why they say Sanjay Uvacha. Arjun, having thus spoken, cast aside his bow and arrow and sat down, his mind overwhelmed with grief. This is our condition. As long as we will judge the society and judge our life and the happenings around us just by our own eyes and our own mental judgment, we are going to be bewildered at every step on why these things are happening. But the moment we take shelter of Shabda Praman and we start seeing our life and the activities and the incidents that are happening in our life through Shabd Praman, that's when we will get our determination, the right direction on how to approach these different incidences that come into our life, what kind of decisions to take, and how to look at it. Okay. Now, it is very interesting how it's written that Arjun stood up on the chariot, but he was so afflicted with lamentation that he sat down again. Such a kind and soft-hearted person he is. This actually shows the devotees of the Lord are very compassionate, and compassion is a very noble virtue to have. It doesn't come for everyone. Duryodhan didn't have it. And compassion for the enemy who is so jealous and so envious of you, this is an unheard of thing. This is not a normal or an ordinary thing. So a devotee's heart is always so soft. Even for his enemies, he cannot think any ill. This is what we can learn from Arjun's condition right now. And such a kind and soft-hearted person is actually fit to receive self-knowledge. So, although Arjun has all these doubts in his mind, but because of these very great qualities that are in him, he is the perfect candidate to receive the topmost knowledge that he is going to get now. So, this is a lesson for us that we have to have these qualities for us to receive the message of Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, Bhagavad Gita will just the message of the Bhagavad Gita can bounce off us and get lost in the environment if we will have an argumentative or a challenging or not a submissive attitude towards receiving this knowledge. One has to be kind, soft-hearted, compassionate, and most of all, submissive and humble to receive the message of the Bhagavad Gita, and that is why Krishna chose Arjun to give this message. And Arjun is not, another thing that we can learn from this is that you don't have to be a sannyasi or a renunciant to get the message of Bhagavad Gita. ये बहुत misconception है society में that Bhagavad Gita is only for sadhus and sannyasis. Where is Arjun a sadhu or a sannyasi? He's a kshatriya, and that too a king. So he is very much, and a grihastha. He has a wife, he has children, and he is very much in the middle of the material world enjoying royalty. Such a person also is fit to receive the message of Bhagavad Gita and apply it in his life. So Bhagavad Gita very much applies to people like us who are living in the material world, who have families. However, we are bewildered because we are only relying on our own judgment on how to perceive the things that happen in our life. So the make or break will be the difference between how open we are to receive Shabd Praman in our lives. So in this slide, you can see that Arjun's fearful of sinful reaction is mainly that if he kills his relatives, who will he share the royal happiness from? अगर वो, it's like आपको trophy जीतते हो आप, लेकिन condition ये है कि अगर आप ये World Cup जीत जाते हो, there will be a world war and everybody will die. So who will you go and share the trophy with? So there is no fun if you don't have anybody to share your victory with. You would not want such a victory. And in the previous verses, these are his 6 doubts. Arjun के जो 6 doubts हैं, starting from the topmost. ऊपर से नीचे आएंगे. जो पहला doubt है वो ये था that all the superiors will be killed. So Vansh, the destruction of the dynasty will happen. Vanshहीन हो जाएंगे, Vansh destroy हो जाएगा. His second doubt was that destruction of the eternal family tradition. जो भी Vedic rituals चले आ रहे हैं society में वो सब बंद हो जाएंगे. because there will elders नहीं होंगे guide करने के लिए youngsters को कि क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना है. Third doubt was that irreligion will be predominating, which means when the cat is away, the mice will play. जब बड़े बुजुर्ग नहीं होते हैं, उनका डर नहीं होता है, तो जो छोटे हैं वो मनमानी करते हैं, अपनी मर्जी से जीते हैं. And मनमानी means they don't want to follow the rules and regulations, and they will purposely break those rules and regulations. So what happens as a result of that? When the young men are frivolous, the women will become polluted, because since the women will not be protected, will be left unprotected, they will be exploited by these irreligious men. And then automatically the most logical conclusion to this situation will be that there will be progeny, but unwanted. There will be Varna Sankar, very low quality of people will be born in the society. And this is what our present society exactly looks like. And the last doubt was that all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities will be stopped. So all these community projects earlier were made by the kings for the spiritual elevation of the society. Community projects से केवल ये मतलब नहीं है कि गेस्ट हाउस बना दिए, schools और hospitals बना दिए, और lakes और orchards बना दिए, ये तो हैं ही हैं. But the main reason was that community projects used to be made by kings so that people are living a higher quality of consciousness. They are not just living a life of eat, drink, sleep, and make merry, but they are working towards developing their spiritual self, which means they are living a life of self-control, not of self-indulgence. So these are the 6 concerns of Arjun, and they are not normal ordinary concerns. They are very, very serious concerns, where so much so that he is forced to put his Gandhi down. So let us take a look at the saintly qualities of Arjun. While he is displaying ignorance of the soul, but these are the qualities that he is also displaying. Soft-heartedness, first of all. बहुत नरम दिल के हैं. To have so much compassion for a person like Duryodhan, because the initial verses mein he was saying that the evil-minded Duryodhan, take me Krishna to see how the evil-minded Duryodhan has collected all these people to come and fight against us. And the next moment when he goes and sees, वो evil-minded Duryodhan भूल जाता है, and he says, स्वजन, ये मेरे अपने हैं, मैं इनको कैसे मार सकता हूँ? So he was very soft-hearted. Second, he does not want to kill even for the exchange of 3 words, which means he's so content. He's not greedy for power, fame, money. तीनों लोगों की बात हो रही है यहाँ पर. It is unimaginable in Kali Yuga for people like us. हमें कोई एक नगर निगम या मेयर ही बना दे तो we feel like we are the lord and masters. What to think of if you become the prime minister of your country. और यहाँ तो planetary system का इसको राजा बनाने की बात हो रही है, and he's saying मुझे वो भी नहीं बनना है. So you can imagine how down to earth and content he was. Thirdly, he is ready to forgive any aggressors, atataina, though there is no reaction in killing them. He knows very well, Arjun knows the Shastra like the back of his hand, and he knows that these 6 kind of aggressors can be killed without getting any sinful reaction. Shastra में लिखा है कि आप ये 6 तरह के जो aggressors हैं उनको मार सकते हो, क्योंकि anyways इनको hellish life आगे मिलेगी. So by killing them, you will be saving them. You will give them punishment on this planet only, so that they don't have to suffer more punishment in their next life, and they can go to a better planet after this. Despite knowing this, he is ready to forgive the aggressors. Fourthly, he considers evil consequences even at the risk of refusing obligation to fight. Which means that he is feeling that if he tries to kill these people, the dynasty is going to suffer. Not just him, he is even concerned for Krishna. He tells him, Krishna, us, you and me, हमें क्या बोलेंगे लोग? तुम्हारी reputation खराब हो जाएगी, हमारी अपनी dynasty जो future dynasty उसके बारे में concern दिखा रहे हैं. Fifth, conscious of obligations to protect family traditions and morals. He does not think that I am transcendental and I have no obligations. He knows that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and he knows that he has a friendly relation with Krishna. Yet, not once does he feel that he is a big bhakta and he's transcendental. Still, he is so humble, Trinadapi Sunichena, and so meek. He still feels that he will be punished for committing this act of sin. And Arjun, being saintly, is conscious of moral principles. That's why he says in 1.44, how can he kill one's relatives based on selfish motives? Sixth quality, he is ready to be killed unarmed. Now, this is not a small thing for a Kshatriya. He's not an ordinary citizen. He's not a Vaishya or a Shudra or a Brahmin. ये unarmed अगर रिटेलिएट नहीं करते तो उनका तो धर्म ही है शस्त्र ना उठाना. लेकिन क्षत्रिय का तो धर्म है वेपन्स के साथ लड़ना, वेपन्स उठाना, and to protect himself. That is also his dharma. Still, he's saying that I would like to be killed unarmed. Custom according to Kshatriya fighting principles, unarmed and unwilling foe should not be attacked. These symptoms are due to the soft-heartedness resulting from being a great devotee. ये वैष्णव qualities हैं. Time and again, even Haridas Thakur की अगर आप story देखें, नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर, he used to chant 3 lakh names of Krishna in a day. 22 घंटे दिन में वो जाप किया करते थे. And he was beaten by the Muslim king's soldiers 22 times in 22 different marketplaces. Yet, not once did he object or raise his voice or hand. यहाँ तक कि last 22nd time जब उनको पीटा जा रहा था, तो जो soldiers थे, he saw कि उनके face पर घबराहट है, and they are extremely fearful. So he asked them कि आप इतने डरे हुए क्यों हो? आप मार तो मैं खा रहा हूँ. तो they said कि आप मर नहीं रहे हो, आपको 22 बार हमें मार, उन्होंने, हमारा जो राजा है उसने हमें 22 बार भेजा आपको मारने के लिए और आप मर ही नहीं रहे. तो उसने कहा है इस बार अगर हरिदास ठाकुर मरा नहीं, because he was earlier born a Muslim and later he took to Vaishnavism and he started, after meeting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he started chanting the Maha Mantra. So ये Muslim king को बिल्कुल भी गवारा नहीं था, and he said that he is a kafir and he has to be shamed and beaten. So what did Haridas Thakur do? He was a Vaishnav, right? He said, oh, you will get killed because I am not dying. So he stopped his breath and he fell down unconscious so that उनको मारने वाले जो soldiers हैं उनकी जान बच जाए. This is the heart of a devotee. And finally, when he fell unconscious और उन्होंने कहा, उन्होंने सोचा कि ये मर गया है, उन्होंने उठाकर उनको गंगा में फेंक दिया. But his breath was still going on. So when he went downstream, of course, he reached the shore, and it's a long story that he was found by someone. He came back to consciousness. But my point is that a Vaishnav feels mercy and daya even for his aggressors. Time and again, we have seen these examples in the Shastra. And 8th quality is that he kept his bow down, even broke his vow of not keeping the bow once lifted. Itna compassion that अपने लिए उन्होंने अपयश ले लिया. Because For a Kshatriya who breaks his vow, the apyash is not just for one lifetime. It is for in history, forever. He will be known in history as a Kshatriya who broke his vow. He is ready. He said, I'm ready to take this insult for time immemorial. So the conclusion is that such a kind and soft-hearted person is actually the best candidate to receive transcendental knowledge. So this is the end of the first chapter. And now our Lord and Master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is finally going to come and speak. In fact, the second chapter is summary of the whole Bhagavad Gita. It is the entire Gita summarized. So it's a very, very important chapter. And the hero of the Bhagavad Gita is going to make an entry, a grand entry in the second chapter. This first chapter was like setting the scene, like I said, and raising some important doubts that Arjun raised. However, there is a reason why Arjun is playing this role, and these are questions that all of us have in our mind, actually, in Kali Yuga. Hamare behalf par unhone ye questions puche hain, and we are going to get an answer to each and every question of Arjun. There was a slide where Arjun ke sare 8 doubts जो हैं वो mentioned है. I'm just looking for that slide. Anyhow, so with that we finish. Any yeah, these are Arjun's reasons for not fighting. Compassion for those he is about to slay, dictates he doesn't want to fight. So first reason is that उनके बहुत compassion है कि मैं इनको कैसे मारूं. Second is enjoyment. He feels that he will not be able to enjoy his kingdom only. Because if all his family members die, तो वो किसके साथ अपना kingdom enjoy करेंगे? So because of he will not be able to enjoy, that's why he does not want to fight. Third is destruction of family. अगर मेरा वंश ही destroy हो जाएगा, what is the point of he will await both the family and the destroyer of the family. So that's why he does not want to fight. And fifth reason is because he's saintly. Therefore, he is always fearing sinful reactions. He thinks that enjoying royal happiness is just not worth it when you're going to get sinful reactions for many, many lifetimes to come. And finally, indecision. He does not actually know what is better, Shreyas or Preyas, conquering the enemy or being conquered by them. So, इस केस में अर्जुन को नहीं समझ आ रही है because he is completely bewildered and illusioned. So, these are the 5 reasons because why Arjun does not want to fight. Or they're all quite valid reasons. Except we will see now what is missing, why these reasons are not valid. We will scientifically see each one of them. Okay, so any questions? I will share these PPTs with you so that you can revise, you can just go through them whenever you are, तो आपको सारी commentary जो हमने discuss की है वो याद आ जाएगी. If there are any questions, I can take them. Otherwise, we will do closing prayers. Or shall we do closing prayers first and then take questions? Whatever.
I think we should do closing prayers.
Okay. Ekam Shastram. So one of you can, sorry. YG, can you repeat after me? आप unmute कर सकते हो.
Okay.
Ekam Shastram
एकं शास्त्रं
देवकी पुत्र गीतम
देवकी पुत्र गीतम्
एको देवो
एको देवो
देवकी पुत्र एव
देवकी पुत्र एव
एको मंत्रस
एको मन्त्रस्
तस्य नामानि यानि
तस्य नामानि यानि
कर्मापि एकं
धर्मापि एकं
तस्य देवस्य सेवा
तस्य देवस्य सेवा
त्वमेव माता च पिता
त्वमेव माता च पिता
त्वमेव बन्धु च सखा
त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा
त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं
त्वमेव विद्या द्रविडं
त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव
त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव
कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय
कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय
हरये परमात्मने
हरये परमात्मने
प्रणतकलेशनाशाय
प्रणतकलेशनाशाय
गोविन्दाय नमो नमः
गोविन्दाय नमो नमः
कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय
कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय
देवकी नन्दनाय च
देवकी नन्दनाय च
नन्दगोपकुमाराय
नन्दगोपकुमाराय
गोविन्दाय नमो नमः
गोविन्दाय नमो नमः
वसुदेवं सुतं देवं
वसुदेवं सुतं देवं
कंसचाणूरमर्दनं
कंसचाणूरमर्दनं
देवकी परमानन्दं
देवकी परमानन्दं
कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं
कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं
कात्यायनी महामाये
कात्यायनी महामाये
महायोगिनी अधीश्वरी
महायोगिनी अधीश्वरी
नन्दगोपसुतं देवी
नन्दगोपसुतं देवी
पतिं मे कुरुते नमः
पतिं मे कुरुते नमः
श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम
श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम
दासोऽहं कृष्ण तवास्मि
दासोऽहं कृष्ण तवास्मि
हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण
हरे
कृष्ण
sorry
you can say together hare
हरे
krishna
कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण
krishna krishna hare hare
हरे हरे
hare
हरे
rama
राम
hare
हरे
rama
राम
rama
राम
rama
राम
hare
हरे
hare
हरे
Srila Prabhupada ki
जय
Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari 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 Bol
हरे